However, we are on Chavam and Alf. I apologize, we did not send out a Chazar today. It was, we just forgot. So that means I did not Chazar. I don't know about anyone else. So therefore, we're going to go a little bit back. I'll tell you why. Really, this whole shtickle Gemara is one long conversation, as we mentioned last night. So we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the Mishnah, and we're going to do a nice Chazar and then get the Gemara clear. So basically, there's two parts of the Mishnah. There's the Tanakama, and then there's Rav Eliezer. And then it's just back and forth, figuring out large mat, small mat, what is the dinim. So here it goes, says the Mishnah. Okay, when you start with the Mishnah, you test Amid Beis. Machatzelas kanim gedayla. Asal ishchiva. So the Tanakama starts off, again, Machatzelas kanim, that's the subject, is a mat of reeds. Tanakama says it's gedayla. It's asal l'shchiva, it's made to lie down. Therefore, equaling mikabelas toma, ein misachim ba. If l'sikach, then what? Yes, misachim ba. Ve'ina mikabelas toma. Tanakama. But again, just realize and appreciate the nuance now that we know what's about to happen in the Gemara. Is that the Tanakama says, if it's gedayla, asal l'shchiva. So you already start to hear something funny is going on. Then the Mishnah continues, if it's l'sikach, then it's good. Rav Eliezer Omer, achas ketan, achas gedayla. Again, asal l'shchiva mikabelas toma ve'im zachaba. L'sikach m'zachaba ve'im mikabelas toma. So right away, when you read this type of Mishnah, you know that you're going to have some level of classical Gemara, because really both parts of the Mishnah are stiras minei ubei. So one of the things you could write out all the different, options, and that's exactly what the Gemara does. Says the Gemara, ha gufa kasha. Where's everyone? Just because it's freezing, no one showed up? Okay. Preparing Mishloach Manas. Preparing Mishloach Manas. Down like Kafslas. Preparing Mishloach Manas. Going to the mikvah l'chayr. Not sure what the mikvah is for, but whenever you're missing, it's l'chayr because you had the mikvah. Ha gufa kasha says it. You know it's cold. I feel it in my voice. I feel like I'm talking outside. It's freezing. Ha gufa kasha. Well, yeah, no, it's nicht normal. I mean, normal. Ha gufa kasha says the Heilige Gemara. The Mishnah at the beginning said, Asal l'shchiva amrit, Asal l'shchiva gimel tamim mizachim, but taima obviously implying the Asal l'shchiva, hastama, what's the flip side? If it's not Asal, it's not made for shchiva, the stam will be a shchichach. But then the Mishnah says, Vader Tani, that what? L'sinkach, misachim ba, v'ena makvel stama. Taima, what's that imply? The Asal l'sinkach, stam l'shchiva. Says the Gemara Stira. So option, the answer is always going to try to be Gedayla Kitana. Now the question just could be which is which, how is what. Answers Gemara, Lakasha, Kan Bigdayla, Kan Bigtana. Good. Continues the Gemara. And again, which is which? The Gedayla is not normal to lie upon. The Gedayla is not normal to lie upon. Rav Eliezer Omer, so now we continue with the end of the Mishnah. Achas Gedayla v'achas titana asal l'shchiva migbelas tamim mizachim ba. Again, taima asal l'shchiva, hastama as a sikach. Ema seif, what Rav Eliezer said, asal l'shchiva mizachim ba migbelas tama. Taima asal l'sikach, hastama l'shchiva. So we have the exact same stira in Rav Eliezer. Elo amar Rava, so says Rava, let's go back. Let's try again. Ella amai Rava. That inherently a gedayla, the stum of a large mat, which we said again, counterintuitive. I would have thought large mat is for sleeping. The answer is no, large mat is not for sleeping. Stama is l'sikach. Keep ligi, what's the machlekes in the Mishnah? Pikitana. Tana kama savar. Stam kitana is l'shchiva. Rav Eliezer savar stam kitana l'sikach. Erev tov. So what's the machlekes? The machlekes is simply about a small mat. Now the Mishnah plays out. V'achi kamar. The very top line of Chaf Amid Aleph. V'achi kamar. Machatzeles hakonim gedayla. Asa, if you went and you made it, because again, what's a large mat inherently? L'sikach. So if you went and you made it asa for what? L'shchiva, then Mikabel's Tuma Misachem ba. Time does all shchiva. Hastama asking me shal sikach. Ve misachin ba. And then we play out the parentheses. V'asa Rav Eliezer lemeimar achas kitana achas gedayla stama kshera lesikach. So far, everything is beautiful. As a machlek is only about what? Only about a kitana, not a kitana. Brains in a shtickle ksubas over here. Kitana, a young girl. No, a small. A kitana is a stomach for sikach. Got to be careful what the kitana is. Kitana over here is a small mat. Amar le Abaye. So ask Abaye. 1 second. Rav Eliezer, Omer. What were the words of Rav Eliezer? Achas kitana v'achas gedayla. Ask the Gemara, it should have been the opposite. Achas gedayla v'achas gedayla mibayli. Why? So we explained. Because the derech of Gemara is, that which is pashut is first, and that which is a chiddush that you argue on is second. I said that according to Rashi. Now, of course, in beautiful Gemara form, comes like Taisa says, guess what? I have countless rayos that it's the other way. So it opens up its own Pandora's box. How to understand the kasha. But simply, yeah, that was the neck. Ooh, whoa. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold. Yeah, it's not a good thing. No, we don't need more noisemakers. The voice already doesn't work in the freezing cold over here. Heat doesn't work in the Heat doesn't work. Heat doesn't work. Baruch Hashem. I thought we were out of this coldness. Anyways, continues the Gemara. Void. That's kasha number 1. So kasha number 1 is Rav Eliezer is backwards. If he's only arguing about a kitana, he should have said that second. Void. Kasha number 2. Keep ligi b'gedoylo tepeligi Rav Eliezer lechumra. How do you know? We just finished answering on the bottom of Amin base that the whole machlokes is only by a kitana, a small mat. So we have 2 kashas on that. Number 1, the wordage of Rav Eliezer sounds not that way. Number 2, asks the Gemara, is we're about to quote a brisa that says explicitly they argue about a gedoyla. Titania, we learned in a brisa, machatzel zakanim gedoyla, about 15 lines down. First word of line is Gedayla Misach Gimba. Rav Eliezer Omer. Emena Mikabel's Tom Misachim Ba. But we see that they're arguing about a Gedayla. Ella Amar Rapapa. This is really where we got to last night. First word line is Rapapa. He means that even by Gedayla, it's totally whether it's Mikabel Tom. You want to know how is that true? He doesn't explain in the Brisa. Could be it's that it's made a lahedya for schach, we're not sure, but the nikuda that we're honing in on is that they're arguing on a gedayla. Meaning in the Bryce, there's different options. You can play it out in many ways you want. That part the Gemara is not explaining because it just shows arguing gedayla. Says the Gemara, the exact opposite. Bekitano, by a small mat, everyone agrees that what? Like we thought. So one thing which stays the same is a stam small mat is lishchiva. A stam large mat is not lishchiva, not to lie down upon. Those 2 details stay the same, which makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because that's mitzias. What's arguing is the rest of the case. Keep ligi b'gedayla. Tanikam asavar stam gedayla is the sikoch. And so now they're arguing about the let me just rephrase what I was just saying. Until this point, there was no machlekes b'mitzias. Everyone agreed a ketana is le shchiva and a gedayla is le sikoch. Now the Gemara is coming along and saying, keep li, they argue about the functionality of a gedayla. Keep ligi b'gedayla tanikama savar. Stam gedayla is for what? L'sikoch. Relazav stam gedayla nami l'shchiva.
I think it's exactly the same what we said.
What's that?
The problem was with the Gdoila and the technical wording.
Yeah.
So we switched it. No,
1 second. It could be right. As I said it over, my didn't calculate fully. Let me. Could be right. Okay, let's fix it. 1 second. Let's go back. Elam Arava. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. Let me say it better. Good. Thank you. Good. Let's say it again. It's actually much easier to understand that way, and it's also MS. So whether it's easier or not to understand, let's correct it. So we have two roots. Let's just read it, and then we'll see it outside. Elam Arava. Back to the Gemara. Elam Arava. Pikitano kuli amle pligi. That what this tam lishchiva. Ki pligi is bigedola. Tanakama savar stam gedola sikoch. Well, savar stam gedola nami lishchiva. Umay asal lishchiva tika amar. What did the Mishnah mean when Rav Eliezer said he made it lishchiva? Because it's funny. Because if we're talking about a stam is lishchiva. So what does it mean in the Mishnah? You made it lishchiva. So this is a little bit of a gotta shtup it in. Hachikamer stam asiya nami lishchiva. A stam way something is made is also to lie down. Yeah, it's very difficult in the reading. If you look back at the Mishnah, it's mamish, it makes sense, but in the reading, it's very hard. If you look, Svar is beautiful. If you look at the Mishnah, let's look back at the Mishnah. He tells me base. Rav Eliezer, Merachas Zoyv Kitana, Osal L'Shchiv Mekabel Stomei Misacham Ba, L'Sikoch Misacham Ba V'Inu Mekabel Stoma. So what are we explaining now? We're explaining now that what the Mishnah means to teach us when it says Osal L'Shchiva means that a stam one is L'Shchiva until you go and you make a L'Sikoch. Okay. Grad Svar is good, wordage is bad. What comes out is after literally a whole amud of Gemara here, one very simple, right? A very simple thing, yes?
But also, it just makes sense. No one makes anything stam for stam. If you're making no one makes.
Okay.
Because you're imagining a mattress. It's going to be like it's a roll of
bamboo.
I understand, but this was before the days of man.
No, so obviously,
who's making something? Who makes something
for a sikoch?
Unless it's
no. So I hear your question. I think what it means is back in their times they had these pergola things that they used to cover. So I think there was a normal mitzias outside of sukkahs that lesikoch doesn't mean for schach necessarily. It means for covering. I think that's what it means. And if it's for covering, it's not a kli. I think that's what it means. Which again, no one really speaks out that detail. I think it has to mean that based on your question. But let's just speak out what happened. It's a whole Amud Gemara, and it's really very simple. Just lots of words back and forth. What happens here is we have two pshatim. We have Rava to start. We have Rav Papa to finish. And the basic detail is, does everyone agree about a gedayla? That a gedayla is not for lying down, and they disagree about a kitana, if it's for lying down? Or does everyone agree about a kitana that it is for lying down, and they argue about a gedayla, what it's made for? Those are the two ways of learning the Gemara, and then it's just to fit into the Mishnah, and everything else is simple. We have one more small shtickle Gemara, then it's going to get a job harder. So let's get that small shtickle in right now. Tanu Rabbanan. We're smack in the middle of Chaf Amid Aleph. The first word on the line is Lishchiva. Tanu Rabbanan. There's a dot, I believe, in your Gemara. You have a dot? Yeah. Is that beautiful? Machatzeles shel Shifa v'shel Gemi. Shifa and Gemi are two types of materials, of soft materials, pliable materials. That's all that matters. What's their article terms? I'm actually not sure. I did not take the moment to look it up. But it means two different, I think one is gum, I think they translate it as, and one is rubber. Two different types of movable materials. That's the point. And the point is that they don't necessarily have a usage. So we have a map made of these items. And says the Gemara, Gedayla, a large one. Misachikimba. You could use it as schach. Why? Because already we know large mats are made not to sleep on. So it makes sense to use the mat. Kitana, ein misachimba. Why? Because it's even more easy to understand because it's a soft material. So it wasn't kanim. Kanim are hard reeds. That's a shtickle firm mattress, quite firm, a little bit too firm probably. Here, this is gemi. This is more, rubbery type. Sounds like a very comfortable mattress, and says the Gemara, a small one you could use as your mattress, and therefore, ein misach gimba shel kanim shel chila. These are now two different types of shoots, two different types of stick type of items. Gedayla, we now can. Oh yeah. Why is this on? I apologize. It's not on. Do not disturb is on. Why did it come through? Azach chutzpah. Shame on you, Apple. Continue. Anyways, shame on them. Anyways, continued. Says the Gemara. Gedoyla of this kanim and chilas misachikim ba. The large one you could use for schach. Why? Because we already know that large reed mats are not good to lie upon. Aruga, if it's woven, then what? Then you cannot use it as chach. Why? Because when you weave together bamboo pieces, it makes it all of a sudden a mattress. Okay. You could yes be misachim ba v'chein haya Rav Daisa Omer Kedvarav, and that really finishes the shtickle about mats, how they lie down upon, and whether we could use them as schach. The next Gemara, Tanan also, we're going to get a little bit involved. You know, I guess the Perek wanted to make sure we end on a little bit of a difficult note. We're going to get a little bit involved in a shtickle Tumah V'Taira for the last Amud over here. We're going to stop over here. We're not going to go further tomorrow night at the 9 o'clock just because I don't think everyone's going to make it. So what we're going to do is Psiyata D'Shmayim. We're gonna find a nice shtickle to do Chazar on. I don't think we're gonna do Daf Beis because we've done that many times. Maybe we'll do something like Daf Tes or something. You know, we'll find a short blot probably in that half hour, 45 minutes time. No, what we're gonna do, we'll go back to where do we start? Where are we now? We're now at Purim. Where did we just start recently? Was it Tesvav over here? Yud Mishnah.
That's when I joined.
So maybe we'll start there. That's a nice place. Oh, you're right, and it's also one long shtickle. That's a very nice place. Yud Zayin Amud Aleph is one nice long thing. So that's what we will do tomorrow night in Mir Hashem. Also.